It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas, with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
Welcome in about 7 minutes late to the Sports Blitz on a Wednesday. We were having some technical issues. Gotta love the internet. Sometimes things don't work like you want them to. We've got a jam-packed Wednesday show for you. Thank you for joining us here at rivervalleyleader.com. Mark Freeman, Maddie Lassiter inside the Cogswell Motors studio. We're going to talk with Jason Kilburn here in just a little bit about hog sports, little college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, plenty of stuff. But we are happy right now to be joined in our Peters Family Living local sports look by Hector head football coach Mark Taylor. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Sorry about all the runaround there. We thought we were going to have you on 11:05, and now we finally get you in at 11:08.
No problem. I completely understand.
Well, we've been following the Hector football season so far, 6-1 on the year, and a very, very good start to the season for you guys. How's the season going from your perspective?
Well, it's going great for us. We were fortunate to get some wins early in the season, and our only loss was to a really good Two Rivers team. And we knew that after that loss, playing them so close, we felt like we had a chance to be really good in our conference. And so far, that's kind of been the case. We've been able to stay undefeated in conference play, and so it's kind of played out like we had hoped. And we set our goals high this year, but we felt like that we got a good taste of winning last year, and our kids really liked it. And so we set our goals really high, and we've been able to so far to stay on pace with what we set our goals to be early in the year.
Yeah, we were talking about, we were introing football the first couple weeks, and we saw in that first week that you guys played, I guess, on a Tuesday night against Hartford, turned around and played again on Friday at Two Rivers, a school that's a classification larger than you, and it seemed like that was a rough turnaround, but you still put 34 points on the board and played very well. You talked about your team's goals. Coming into this season, what were the team's goals?
Well, we wanted to win the conference. Last year we were third place, and we're fortunate enough to host a home playoff game, and we lost to Dirk. But we felt like this year, with the year under our belt, a whole off season, we felt like we wanted to be able to. We thought we had a good enough team to win the conference, and host another playoff game. So really, and then when Hootens came out and had us pick to win it, our whole focus changed to now I prove it. That's kind of been our saying that we've used all year is prove it. Go prove that you're worthy of being picked first in our conference. And so far, our guys have been really focused. They've done a great job each week, not overlooking any opponent. They've gone into every game, and they've done everything we've asked them to do as a coaching staff.
Now, I appreciate Jason Kilburn giving me some information that I didn't already know. I read the stats and I see how your team does from week to week, but he gave me a couple of names that were just sort of playing outside their minds right now for you. Running back Gus Nichols, and then the guy that we talked about coming into the season who was going to be a big difference maker for you, freshman quarterback Tanner Gaines. Talk about your players and some guys who have stood out, and especially those two guys.
Well, towards the end of the year last year, Gus Nichols really took ownership in our team. He just kind of took that offense and started leading us. And he's a terrific running back. Just does a great job when the ball is in his hands. And we knew, we graduated senior quarterback last year. Didn't really have a backup. We probably would have had to go some Wildcat stuff last year if our senior had got hurt. So we started looking through the program, and Tanner Gaines, he's a freshman, but I'm telling you, at 6 foot, 180 pounds, he does not look like a freshman out there. I mean, most coaches are blown away by his size and his physical abilities. And so we felt like we got an all-senior offensive line, and we felt like that we could put a lot of good players around him to protect him. And we were able to do that early, but, man, the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's really started making plays with his legs. He's throwing the ball better. His decisions are great. couldn't ask for a better season from a ninth grade quarterback.
From what I've heard, he does look like a man in those pads, and that seems to be helping you guys out a great deal there. 6-1 early on in the season. We're talking with Hector head football coach Mark Taylor. Coach, for those that don't know you, you haven't been at Hector all that long, but you're from this area, and let us know a little bit about you and a little bit about your coaching philosophy.
Well, I've been in this area for a while now. Back when I first started college, I helped out at Athens a little bit, so I got to be in a trolley sorrow for a while. Then I went to Arkansas Tech when Coach Mullins got there, and I just walked in his office one day. I said, I want to coach college, and he said, well, check back with me. And I had one thing that nobody else had. I had a CDL, and so I got to drive the bus to the games for a couple of games, and then the next thing you know, I'm GA in there. So I spent 7 years there with Coach Mullins at Arkansas Tech, and I would have to say that a lot of my philosophies, a lot of the things that we do came from him. That toughness, just the mental toughness he would put his teams through each week, and then so I would say a lot of my philosophies and things that I have developed, came through him. Then I spent a year at Danville with DJ Crane, and then my brother is also a coach in this area. He got the head coaching job at Dover, so I went over there and spent 5 or 6 years there at Dover with him. We had some really good years there at Dover, and when the Hector job came open, it was something that I'd always wanted to be a head coach, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And it has been. These people are great. It's the town is just awesome. Great people up here to work with, and man, our crowds have been unbelievable. It's been probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done in coaching.
Coach, it sounds like you paid your dues under some really, really good coaches and really got to gain some experience. Talk about your playing style. I haven't been able to watch Hector in a little while, but I know that traditionally, going back to Coach Rust several years ago, it was a primarily run-oriented offense. What do you do?
Well, we're pretty balanced. They had run the dead tee for a long time here, and to be honest with you, I just don't know enough about it. I think it's a great offense, but it's just something I've never been able to do. And we're a lot more balanced run. We're probably 70-30 run pass, but our passing game is big because we use a lot of play action, and we're kind of a downhill running team. And then we will get into some spread formations and have fun with that too. So we're multiple formations offensively, and defensively we've kind of gone to more of an attack defense where we like to bring pressures and things off the edge, and so that's kind of been. And our kids have fun with it. They really enjoy it. We try to put some new wrinkle in each week just to stay fresh and focused, and they've really enjoyed it.
Well, it sounds like they're buying in pretty well, scoring 38 points a game, giving up just 13 so far on the season. Now, I know you would never let your players do this, but have you looked ahead a little bit to the rest of the 2A and how you stack up against the Junction Cities and the big powerhouses of the 2A in the playoffs?
Well, yeah, we've kind of looked ahead a little. I mean, we talk about being focused each week, but as a coach, you have to look ahead and start preparing down the road. I feel like, as far as the Junction Cities and the Beardens and the Risings, obviously they have an athletic advantage over us. Athletically, they're going to be much more athletic than us. We don't have SEC athletes being recruited, like those guys do. And so, meeting up with them in the playoffs would be down the road, so that means we will have won at least 2 games in the playoffs. I think once you get to that point in your season, you're very blessed and you're very fortunate, and you just got to go do the best you can, and hope you have that magical night where you can upset one of those teams.
I'm looking forward to a nice run from Hector. We've got several good teams in this area, folks, that are doing good things in the high school football season. You've got Union Christian this week. What have you got for Union Christian on Friday night? Well,
they're a spread team. They're going to throw it 90% of the time. So it's a little different. The last 2 weeks we faced mostly run teams, so it's a huge shift for us this week. Of course, with the rain, we've had a little bit of trouble getting out and practicing as much as we have, but I feel like we're going to be able to bring a lot of folks, bring pressure, get in the quarterback space early, make him make quick decisions, and, change our look. Don't ever give him the same look twice. And so that's what we're going to try and do. And then offensively, we're just going to keep doing what we do, and that's just run the football and use our play action. So, I feel pretty good about it. I think our kids are excited. It's senior night. So our last 2 games are on the road. So, I've kind of told them, hey, this is a big night for you.
Definitely. Well, Coach, close it out in style. Have a good time on Friday night and send those seniors out with the win. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. We hope to visit with you again soon.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, too.
Not a problem. That's Coach Mark Taylor, Hector Wildcats head football coach. Thank him once again for joining us on the Peters Family Living Local Sports Look. We're a little out of whack here since we started about 7 minutes late, so we're going to hold off on a break for just a moment and go through the rest of the high school slate right now. The Russellville Cyclones hosting Little Rock Catholic on Friday night. If you missed what Russellville did on Friday night at Little Rock Parkview, you missed a show. Cyclone fans need to get out and support the Cyclones as they're just rolling through right now. They've got Cody Jones going crazy right now. 500 yards passing and 6 touchdowns on Friday night against Parkview. Picked up an offer from Lyon College to play some college football. So a big deal for him. Congratulations to Cody Jones on that offer. But 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. 3 of them went to Drew Smith, the talented tight end. A lot of people said he would be the most highly recruited this year of those talented Russellville skill players. Jalen Curtis, heard a lot about him, but Drew Smith had 3 touchdown catches and 207 yards on Friday night against Parkview. Jalen Curtis, 6 catches for 94 yards, including a 66-yard touchdown, and Coach East Temple Laws, 5 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's sort of I don't want to call it an air raid offense because it's not exactly what it is, but Coach Jeff Holt knows exactly what he's doing. And he has got the offense rolling and hitting on all cylinders. It's funny to me how the games that I've watched them play, they've started slow, but there have been just moments of electricity as the offense started clicking. And this week they hope to do the same against the Little Rock Catholic Rockets. The Pottsville Apaches, 35-0 winners over Mena. They're taking on Dover this week on the road. I was asked this morning about Michael Perry, asked if he had made a decision to commit to a school. Some rumor going around that he had committed to Henderson State. I asked Michael, and he said that is not true. He has actually heard that people have said he's committed to Harding as well. So I do know that Michael has been invited to make an unofficial visit to the University of Missouri this weekend, and Missouri is showing big interest in Michael Perry's talents there. So he's going to be on the field this week, on the sideline at Missouri as they're playing Florida this week. So it's a big deal for Pottsville's Michael Perry. He's going to have to make a decision. I was thinking about this. I've always said for the last month or so that, if I were him, I would make my decision in March after basketball was over, and I would wait until the end of my senior season as far as athletics go and pick whichever, the best offer, the best fit for me. And I thought about it this morning when I was talking to him, and I said, football signing day is in February. It's like the first week in February. So he's going to have to decide really before basketball season's over. He's got a tough decision on his hands. I said after basketball season last year, he's the 4A state MVP. They're the state champs. And I said, he may be leaning basketball. And I talked to people here and there, talked to Michael himself, and, he's leaning one way. And then football season comes, and we knew it was going to happen this way. He's going to have a good season. He's going to put up good stats, and Pottsville's going to play well, and he's going to have offers to play football, and then he may switch back that way. And then, I was hoping that he would have the ability, and I think, Michael and his family's got a good support system, good coach, great coaches, and great men who will help him to make the right decision. So I don't have a problem thinking that he's going to make the wrong decision. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of troublesome that he's not going to get to play out his basketball season before he makes that decision unless he were to sign late. And I don't know, if Missouri was to offer him a football scholarship, I think they'd want him on signing day. They wouldn't want to wait for another month until basketball season ended. So it's going to be just another layer to that decision for Michael Perry. I can tell you where I thought he was leaning before. But as I asked him today, he talked about football, and he said, it's football season, so where I'm leaning right now because he's playing very well. So he said it's very tough. He's still open, and he doesn't have a decision made yet, but he has been contacted by Henderson, Harding, all those schools in the area, and he has been asked to go on an unofficial visit to the University of Missouri this weekend. He will be there for the Florida game. So, like I said, a big deal for Michael Perry, and congratulations to him. The Apaches taking on Dover Friday night. Dardanelle taking on Waldron. Clarksville's going to host Greenbrier. We're going to give away 2 tickets on Friday to that game. Thank you to the Clarksville Athletic Department and administration for hooking us up with those. Lamar Charleston. That's our game of the week. It's going to be a very, very big deal. You're going to see TV networks. You're going to see RiverValleyLeader.com, which is the biggest of all networks. And you're going to see a lot of attention paid to this game. It's a huge deal. It's for the conference championship for all intents and purposes. Lamar Warriors, Charleston Tigers, Friday night. I'm going to go watch Ty Story and see if my Warriors can take them. I said mine. My Warriors can take them down. Got a lot of kids go to my church from Lamar. Really looking forward to seeing them play. Hopefully they can get the win against Charleston. Hector, we talked to Coach Taylor. They've got Union Christian on Friday night. Dover, Two Rivers at Jessieville. Dover, we mentioned, playing Pottsville. Danville at Lavaca. Atkins at Mansfield. And Arkansas Tech, Saturday at 3 o'clock in El Dorado, taking on Henderson State. That game's being hyped up pretty well right now. Hopefully the Arkansas Tech Wonder Boys can handle the Reddies. That's going to be a tall test. We'll be back right after this with more Sports Blitz.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
here's what you missed.
Updated news.
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
Developing stories.
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
And weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on. KARK4 today.
It is Wednesday on the Sports Blitz. Thank you for joining us. Mark Freeman, Maddie Lassiter inside the studio. Jason Kilburn going to call in here in just a little bit. It's Wednesday, like I said, so you're going to get our NFL power rankings. We'll look at some games for Saturday that we will look forward to in college football as well. So let's get started, though, with The Wire. This is when we run through the big sports topics in the world that are going on right now. Nothing really bigger, so to speak. Now, I know NFL and college football would probably draw more viewers to the TV, but nothing really bigger as far as the implications of these games than the Major League Baseball playoffs. You've got the AL and NLCS playoff series going on right now. Last night, the St. Louis Cardinals took a 3-1 lead against the Los Angeles Dodgers. St. Louis, man, they just grinded out. Los Angeles got they got the best team money can buy, quote unquote. They took on, I've talked about this before, all that Boston salary from a couple years ago, and they've got Yasiel Puig, they've got Clayton Kershaw, they've got Zach Greinke, they've got all these guys. Hanley Ramirez, now he's hurt. But St. Louis just grinds it out with farm talent, and there's something to be said about that, and it's something that a lot of people appreciate. And I'm beginning to come around myself, but the St. Louis Cardinals took a 3-1 lead. They will play again. I guess that's at 3 o'clock today. Is that right? They play in back-to-back nights. That's baseball for you. They play 162 games over a 9-month stretch, and then they play like 12 games in 4 days. Tonight, 3 o'clock, or today, 3 o'clock, the Cardinals will try to close it out against the Dodgers. The pitching matchup is, and last night, by the way, did you see Matt Holliday's home run? Good Lord. Did you hear that? It just landed. Somebody tweeted that last night. Did you hear that noise just now? Matt Holliday's home run just landed on Pluto. Congratulations for that tweet. I don't even know who made it, or I'd give you your props. Tonight you got Zach Greinke, huh? Mark, you know a whole lot about baseball. Zach Greinke and Joe Kelly going for the Cardinals. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, you've got the Detroit Tigers and Boston Red Sox. Boston up 2-1. Huge turn of events on, what day was it? Monday? That the Red Sox were able to come back. And, I guess the last game they beat Justin Verlander. I guess it was last night. The first game was the one that was really, it was a 1-0 game last night. The first game was the one that was just crazy. Big Papi hits a grand slam, and Torrey Hunter goes over on an Arkansas native, goes over on his head, trying to catch the ball, falls over the outfield wall and busts his head on the ground. Just a crazy turn of events there as Detroit looked like they were going to win the game, and Boston sneaks back in. Now they've got a 2-1 lead. You've got Doug Fister and Jake Peavy going tonight. Peavy for the Red Sox and Fister for the Tigers. That game's going to first pitch 7 o'clock tonight. I guess that's in Detroit, right? Game 4. Let me think. How's that going to work? I think it is in Detroit. Trying to remember my back and forth scheduling in baseball. But anyway, that's the big stuff going on right now in the world of Major League Baseball. You can give us a call at 968 News anytime that the phone lines are free. We're trying to work on getting some extra lines, but right now the phone line's free for the next minute or so at 968 News. You can always find us at facebook.com/sportsblitz or facebook.com/RVL News. You can reach me on Twitter at Real Mark Freeman. It was a joke. Please don't make fun of me for saying Real Mark Freeman like I'm the main one. But it's just an easy way for me to remember it because my other one was hard to remember, okay? At Real Mark Freeman is how you can get to me on Twitter. We'd love to have your input on the show. We ask every week and every day a CrossFit Russellville poll question, and today's is sort of similar to the other days. We've talked about this Arkansas-Alabama game, and we'll get to it here in just a little bit, but most of us don't expect a win. I'll just be honest. Most of us don't expect a win from the Hogs. So what would you view as a success? We'll debate that later on. We've got a couple answers from people. What would you deem a success when Arkansas takes on Alabama on Saturday? What would it take? Some people say nothing but a win is a success. I can see that. But against Alabama, I don't expect them to win. If they kept it close, I would consider that a success. If there were certain things that they were able to accomplish, I would consider that a success. You can call me a loser if you want, but I'm just a realist. So let's get real quickly to my power rankings in the NFL. This is The Wire. We jump around like popcorn We don't stick to one specific topic during the wire. We just run through things. But in my power rankings in the NFL right now, from week to week, it changes, obviously. I've got Denver number 1 for the second straight or third straight week. Well, no, it's been a little while now. Since everybody else lost and Denver continued to win, I have had them atop my power rankings. But there's been a bunch of changes elsewhere in my top 5. Kansas City, undefeated at 6-0. Now, they haven't really played anybody, but they and Denver, now they'll play 2 games in 3 weeks against each other here in the next few weeks. But although Kansas City hadn't played the greatest of teams, they beat my Cowboys. They're 6-0. They're the only other team beside Denver that is 6-0, so it goes without saying I have to put them at number 2 in my power rankings. This is sort of a what have you done for me lately type thing. Every Wednesday, I just go through what have you done for me lately. And if you keep winning, you're undefeated at 6-0, and you're Kansas City, you're number 2 on my list. Seattle's number 3. They lost to Indianapolis a couple weeks ago on the road. They don't look the same on the road as they do at home. I have to give them credit, though. They fought back against the Houston Texans from, I guess it was a 20-3 deficit to force overtime, win the game in overtime, and have gone on to continue their winning ways. They're 5-1, and Seattle is my number 3 team. I say that with the caveat that I know the Super Bowl is not played in Seattle, so they're not going to look quite the same if they were to make it that far, but that would put them in the top 2. So they're right there outside the top 2 for me because they've got that loss. But Seattle looking very good in that NFC West. If San Francisco can't come back and get them in Candlestick, then we'll see Seattle running through the playoffs at home, and that's a bad deal for other teams in the NFC because you remember a couple years ago when Seattle was playing New Orleans and Marshawn Lynch breaks that long run and they cause an earthquake. They literally cause the stadium noise to register on the Richter scale. Wow. Seattle is very, very loud at home, so I've got Seattle at number 3. I had New England at number 5 last week and New Orleans at number 4, or actually a couple weeks ago, and I flip-flopped that because this week New England beat New Orleans, and it is a miracle throw. I said a lot of people are saying from Tom Brady to Kimbrell Tompkins, one of those virtuoso plays for Tom Brady that this year he's been struggling. They've had some moments where he's had drops. They've had some moments where he hasn't been as sharp as he has in the past, and people are saying, well, is Tom Brady still the man? And then people on the other side are saying he's having a better year than ever because he's doing this with no Gronk, no Hernandez, no Wes Welker, Amendola's hurt. He doesn't have a number 1. He doesn't have a tight end. All those things are true. But Tom Brady, he got it done on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. So I've got Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at number 4 and the New Orleans Saints at number 5 on my power rankings. I'm going to be interested to see if old Jason agrees. He might have his Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the top 5. No, I'm just joking. They're terrible, and he knows it. Just like my Cowboys. We win the games we're not supposed to and compete in the games we're not supposed to, and then we get blown out by crappy teams. It's just the way we roll. But I'll be interested to see what Jason has to say. We're going to take a break real quickly. Like I said, it's a little wonky today as we're 7 minutes off schedule. We're going to give you those extra 7 minutes, though, dang it. We're going to 12:07 today. So adjust your calendar, change your schedule, whatever you got to do. But we'll be here till 12:07. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Jason Kilburn.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
It's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KRK4 today.
We are joined now by a good friend of the show, Mr. Jason Kilburn. Mark Freeman, Matty Lassiter inside the Cogswell Motors studio. Jason on the phone line. Jason, we're going to have a full show when Weldon gets back. Apparently, he's coming back about the Mississippi State game, and he'll be in studio. So we're going to have a full house once again.
That'll be good, man. It's always good to hear what he's up to now. And I noticed the other day he said something about recruiting on his Facebook page. So
Yeah.
I guess he's diehard into recruiting right now. But yeah, I'm glad to see he's coming back for a little bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's I was listening to him talk the other day, or I put it on Facebook or Twitter about how recruiting for him in the college football game is sort of the same thing as to what it was on NCAA for the PlayStation or the Xbox or whatever, because you have to do the same sorts of things, except for then you have to actually have human interaction one with another. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to see how similar those things are. Looking forward to having old Weldon back. He said he was going to try to listen to the show, so we hope you're having a good time up there freezing your booty off in Minnesota. It is Minnesota, yeah. I always want to say Michigan, but it's Minnesota. I mentioned before the break my power rankings in the NFL. I've got Denver, Kansas City, Seattle, New England, New Orleans. Jason, I was interested to hear if you had anything different.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to put Denver at number one, but number one in my spot this week, I didn't have Denver at number one. I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number one. You know, after that loss that they had, though, they're really about to start fighting back. I can really see them turning the corner now.
Yeah, thanks you can.
No, I'm just kidding. Your top five, you have the same teams I have, but I don't have them in the same order. Denver, of course, I've got Denver number one. I think when Von Miller comes back, they're just going to be that much better, that much harder to stop, and of course their offense is already unbelievable. And Noshawn Moreno is really starting to come around as the lead running back there. And then number two, I got Kansas City. And I don't know if Kansas City's the second best team in the NFL, but the reason I have them there is because they're 6-0 and they're undefeated. And it doesn't matter who you're playing in the NFL. When you go to 6-0 and you're still undefeated, you're a pretty good team. My number three team, I've got, instead of you've got Seattle there, I've got New England there. Last week I had New Orleans there, but I'm putting New England there just because they beat New Orleans. And, you know, Tom Brady, if he gets some weapons back, you know, if Gronk comes back and, you know, they could be, if he's healthy and stuff and can come back, I see that offense is going to be back to where they are. And Stephen Ridley's a good running back, and he runs real hard. And I like the Patriots a lot. Number four teams, I've got the New Orleans Saints. I mean, their offense is unbelievable since, they've got their head coach back, Sean Payton, and I like them a lot. And then I've got Seattle at number 5. So I've got the same teams, but just in a little bit different order.
I can see that. I like that top 5 there. While we're on the subject of football, let's look at some college football games. You and I were talking earlier about the Clemson-Florida State game. That's going to be a big one. We'll get to that one here in a minute. Florida-Missouri, we talked about Michael Perry. He's going to be on the scene there. Florida at Missouri, Auburn at A&M, LSU at Ole Miss. His 3 SEC games, and we haven't even talked about the Arkansas-Alabama game. You can tell where we think games matter and what we find important. And then UCLA at Stanford. I feel like it's pretty easy to say that Clemson-Florida State is the marquee game of the week. That's 2 top 5 teams going at it.
Yes, it is, man. That's going to be that's a big game. And it's at Clemson, so that's even big for Florida State to come in there and win since, Florida State beat Clemson last year. But you got, the quarterback there, Florida State, Jameis Winston, he's a heck of a redshirt freshman quarterback. They were talking about, Manziel coming in being such a star that he was. Winston's the exact same way. And, Winston has, 2 wide receivers that can stretch the field with Shaw and Green, and I really like Florida State a lot, but, at Clemson with Taj Boyd at quarterback and, of course, Sammy Watkins at wide receiver, they're going to be hard to stop. And, I'm not a betting man, but I do always look at lines and stuff, and I thought it was interesting that Florida State was actually favored in that game, even though it is at Clemson. I would have figured, it would have been Clemson probably would have been favored just because they were at home. But, that's going to be a good game. And then, you're talking about the Florida and Missouri game. With Franklin out, at quarterback there for Missouri, it's going to be hard for them to win. But Matty Mock, he's a true freshman quarterback, and he didn't play bad, in the win last week. But both of those games are going to be good games. And then of course the Auburn and A&M game, that's going to be a high scoring game. If I was a bet man, I'd bet the over on that. I don't know what the over is, but I would bet the over on that game. I think it's if Marshall's coming back at Auburn with the offense that way that Malzahn runs there, it's going to be a high-scoring affair there.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of different things I wanted to point on or to talk about for just a moment. The Clemson-Florida State game. I think that I picked Clemson preseason to win the ACC. I guess it was it you or Brad or both that picked Florida State to win the ACC. This is basically the matchup. Well, it's not basically. This is the matchup in the ACC. Did you have Florida State or Clemson winning?
I had the Clemson win.
Okay.
Brad that picked Florida State.
Okay, yeah, well, he's an idiot. No, I'm just joking. I've got Clemson winning. I think the reason that Florida State is probably favored in this game, 2 factors. One, you've got the sexy factor. You've got the Jameis Winston, famous Jameis. He's the redshirt freshman everybody's talking about. They're scoring 53 points a game, but I think the big reason is that you factor that in, and then you factor in that they're 3rd in the country in points against. They're giving up 12 points a game, and everybody expects Clemson to have a Clemson week where they just go Clemson, and they, it's a thing. It's now Clemsoning is like Tebowing. It's a thing. You blow a game somewhere along the lines. And, of course, in this game, if they were to lose and it were a close game, I don't think it would be considered the same as it has been in years past. What would be more like Clemson in the past, Jason, is if they won this game and then they lost next week at Maryland, which a lot of people were saying. But I think that's probably why Florida State is favored. I did see the weapons that Clemson had coming into this year and what Taj Boyd was able to do. And watching them play against Georgia, it solidified it for me. But the more the season has gone along and the more impressed I've been with Florida State, the more I expect this to be a really, really good game.
Yeah, it should be a heck of a game. We were talking about Clemson when they upset Georgia early in the year. They've always they had an outside shot at winning the national championship game now, or to get into the national championship game. Now, if they beat Florida State this week, I think the only tough game they've got on their schedule is I think they play at South Carolina. I think that's the last game of the year. And then they have the ACC championship game, which would probably be, I guess Miami probably will come out of that division, them or Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But, Florida State's got, they got Clemson this week, and then they got Miami still on the schedule. They still got Florida on the schedule. So if they do get by here, it's going to be hard for them to get in there. But, Clemson, I just like Clemson a lot. I think Taj Boyd, with him being a senior quarterback, he's been through the battles. He's been, he's won a lot of tough games, but like you're saying, Clemson always has a game or two out of the year that they always have a little hiccup and get upset. So it should be a very entertaining game.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. I'm looking forward to that one. You mentioned the Auburn A&M game. That's going to be, my goodness, they're going to be ringing up the scoreboard. I hope they've got triple digits available on the scoreboard because it'd be embarrassing for them to score 100 points and not be able to roll that score. Have you ever seen that happen in basketball where the scoreboard didn't go past 100 and some team scores more than 100 and it's like 0-2 and they've got 102 points? You're like, what in the world? Needless to say, they're going to be ringing up the scoreboard on Saturday in this Auburn A&M game. LSU at Ole Miss. I would have thought 4 or 5 weeks ago, after watching Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, I would have thought that Ole Miss would have had a chance in this game, but watching what Alabama did to them, it shows me, Jason, that they're not necessarily among the big boys in the conference. I expect LSU to go on the road and get a win, but old Les Miles, man, he's due for something stupid. He said something the other day, this hammer and the nail thing. You ought to YouTube that because it's hilarious. You can't understand what he's saying. Me and Maddie and David were standing there watching it the other day. I was like, I can't understand one thing that is coming out of Les Miles' mouth right now. But he said something stupid the other day. He's due to do something stupid on the football field. Probably not going to be this week, but that game against Ole Miss, I expect LSU to win. Then UCLA, Stanford. Stanford coming back from a big loss last week, and now they expect to beat UCLA. I figure they will set up a big game on, I guess it's the same day as the LSU game, LSU-Alabama game, where Stanford plays Oregon. Do you agree with those assessments, Jason?
Yeah. Florida, man. Not Florida, I meant LSU. LSU, that Alabama game is going to be a big game. And as much as I love Alabama, and I think, or not really love Alabama, I just like them as a team, and I think they've got a really good shot at winning the national championship, with LSU's defense and the way that Zach Mettenberger is really turning around that offense, I think LSU might be able to upset Alabama and play for the national championship. But Mississippi, they're just a couple years away. I think Freeze, they keep turning it around there. He's bringing in the recruits the last 2 years, and he's got a heck of a class coming in this year. So I think it will be a few years before Mississippi gets rolling, but I like LSU a lot in that game as well.
Man, that LSU A&M or that LSU Alabama game is going to be a whole lot different than I thought it was going to be because coming into the year I expected LSU as a notch below Alabama. Right now, the way they're both playing, I think that they're right there on the same level, and it's going to be sort of like that game it was a couple years ago. I guess it was in Tuscaloosa, or Alabama and LSU. No, I think it'll be a little more high scoring than that. But it was like 9-6 or something crazy, and just took a play here and a play there for LSU to come out on top. I'm looking forward to that game, although I'm not as confident as I once was. I have Alabama winning the national championship, so they're gonna have to get by LSU to do that because I don't see anybody else beating LSU the rest of this year. So anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a little bit of time. We're going to talk Hog basketball. They were picked 8th by the media in the SEC, and they didn't have any first or second teamers in the SEC preseason media poll. We'll talk about that and much more coming up.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out rivervalleyleader.com.
Hi folks, Richard Roberts with Cogswell Motors in Russellville. You know, we've been in business since 1949. A dealership doesn't stay in business that long under the same ownership unless you're doing something right, and that's taking care of customers. We have the largest selection of new Ford, Lincoln, Mazda, and pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. So if you want the most for your trade, the best interest rate on financing, and the best price on a new or pre-owned automobile, come to Russellville and see us. We're at 1900 East Main, or visit us on the web at cogswellmotors.com.
If you didn't count on KARK4 today this morning,
Here's what you missed.
updated news,
Police continue searching for suspects after a home intrusion overnight.
developing stories,
There's another piece of presidential history turning up here in Arkansas.
and weather and traffic on the force.
Friday night, Saturday morning will bring us our next chance of rain.
Every 10 minutes.
Around the clock.
Making your day easier.
So rise and shine and count on.
Count on.
Count on KRK4 today.
Today's CrossFit Russellville Revolution poll question. Now, you got to go down there to CrossFit Russellville here down the road from us. You can go to their Facebook page and find out about some specials they've got going on. They're offering every Wednesday in October a free session. I guess it's at 6 and 9 in the morning on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, if you want to get up and come in and work out, try out CrossFit for yourself, you can show up and it's free. So we appreciate them sponsoring the show and being a part. Today's CrossFit Russellville poll question: what would you constitute as success for the Arkansas football game against Alabama on Saturday? I talked about it before, and I said, look, Arkansas is probably not going to win the game. I was thinking about this before the show, and I was wondering how people would take that. And by the responses that I've got on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever they've come from, I feel like most of you are looking at this logically. Now, I know there will be callers to statewide radio all day long and all week long. Hadn't been listening too much, but I'm sure there will be some of those that come out and say, well, if you don't think Arkansas can win this game, you're not a real fan. If you don't think that success is just a win and nothing else is success, then you're a loser. Well, I've got a word for you, and it's not nice. So I'll just say you're not a realist. I think here on the Sports Blitz, rivervalleyleader.com, we're trying to be realists, okay? Mark Freeman, Maddie Lassiter, Jason Kilburn here on a Wednesday. Jason, let's address the poll question today. I felt like the answers that I've got were from folks like us who think to have success on Saturday against Alabama, you really just have to compete. You know, a friend of mine, Dustin Zeeler, said just compete until the final horn. That's where we are as Razorback fans. A couple years ago, 2010, I believe it was win the game, beat Alabama at home, and you've made it. Now we're to the point, and I know this is a rebuilding season, where success for us is just competing, and I totally agree with what he said. Chris Rogers said at this point, put points on the board. He wants any points whatsoever on the board, and that will be a success against Alabama. Jason, what do you have to say?
And you're talking about scoring points. You know, the last 4 games, Alabama has gave up a total of 16 points in 4 games.
Sheesh.
I mean, that's unbelievable. So if we could score, I might be with him, man. If we can get any points on the board, then it might be a success. No, but you know, the spread's 28. You know, what is success? Is it covering the spread? You know, what if Alabama looks horrible, but they win 28-0, and Arkansas doesn't do absolutely anything? Is that a success? Yeah. I don't think so. I think Arkansas, like you're saying, has just got to compete. And if that's getting beat 42-14, or if that's getting beat 52-0 or whatever, you know, if they're just out there still competing, you know, on every single play, giving all they got, then I'll be fine with that. Now, last week it just seemed like we gave up after they threw that interception. You know, Allen threw that interception. It just seems like they gave up. But I want to see a team that's out there that's going to show passion, that's going to show that it's something to wear a Razorback uniform, that they're going to show effort on every single down, that they're not going to take a down off. And, if they are, tell the coach, hey, put somebody else in. I'm not doing what I need to be doing or something. But, I just want to see them compete. And, if something does go bad, I don't want it just to be a snowball effect. I want them to stay involved in the game and show effort throughout the whole game.
I'm sort of with you right there on that. I'm somewhere in between. I want to see a result on the field that would constitute success, and I want to see effort. You mentioned if they're playing hard and it's 52-0, that's not going to necessarily fly for me, and I don't think it would for you either. I think what you meant is you just want to see them playing hard. But I was thinking about it as you said that, a 28-point spread, and Jason said, we don't necessarily condone gambling, but those guys in Vegas know what they're doing. They want to get money on both sides. They want to have teams or people betting on both teams, so they put that line at 28 points thinking Alabama is at least 27 points better than Arkansas. Well, do you think it's going to be 29 or do you think it's going to be 27, basically? How bad do you think Alabama is going to beat Arkansas? To me, I said it in the break, if Arkansas can keep it within about 17 points, that would, to me, be somewhat successful. Now, if it's 27-10, I can probably live with that. Now, if Arkansas is able to move the ball, if they're able to play with some pride and not just get killed. The thing about Nick Saban, for the most part, now you wouldn't know it from watching Arkansas play Alabama last year, but for the most part, Nick Saban doesn't really score a whole heck of a lot of points. He'll call the dogs off. Last year, Arkansas was basically handing the ball to Alabama and saying, here, go score some points, and it was 52-0. I don't think that it's going to be that bad this year, and also during that game last year, Arkansas, like it or not, I'm not trying to bash players, they laid down and quit in that game. It's not up for debate. Arkansas quit in that Alabama game. I don't think you're going to see that. Coach Bielema has talked about how, he's dealing with a mindset that a lot of these guys have, but he said he doesn't see quit in these guys. He sees them fired up, passionate, not happy about losing, and not quitting. I want to see that on the field. I want to see that turn into positive points, positive plays. I want to see Arkansas be able to compete in the game. If they can keep it to roughly a 17-point game, I would consider that somewhat successful. And man, I know that sounds like a loser's mentality because that's not. But the thing is, that's not going to be good from here on. That's this year, knowing where Arkansas is, knowing that they've lost however many games in a row now, 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row, whatever it is. I really feel like, Jason, that having Arkansas compete, keeping it from just getting out of hand, would be somewhat successful.
Yeah, when I said 52-0, of course I probably wouldn't be happy with that. You know how I am.
Oh yeah.
We agree. If they cover the spread, that's probably going to be good. I just, like you're saying, I just want to see. I want to see improvement in the running game. I want to see improvement in the passing game. I want to see, better tackling. I want to see our cornerbacks, and safeties actually playing a little bit of defense instead of just getting burnt deep. I want to see improvement in all areas and all facets of the game. But I realize, this is about where everybody thought we'd be at this time. Everybody thought this was going to be a tough year. If we won 6 games, we would be, happy with that, getting to a bowl game. Which, I think me and you and Brad had all picked, 6-6, 7-5, something along those lines, which it's still doable. It's just going to be hard to get there. But I just want to see them compete, just effort. I want to see effort. That's probably more than anything. And, since Saban's been at Alabama, Arkansas has never beat Saban since he's been at Alabama. And I think the average score on those 6 games is like 49-14 or something like that. Oh. I want it to be closer than that. If I'm with you. If it's 35, 14 or 35-17, or which we probably won't score that many points. But, I just want to see a good effort is what I think will be determined for me if it's a successful game or not.
All right, let's change gears. We've got about 6 minutes left. Arkansas basketball. This is our Hog Talk segment, so it's sort of mixed bag of Arkansas Razorbacks talk. If you missed Monday, and if you've been under a rock for the last few days, you hadn't heard about Jeff Long being named to he was the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. Big honor. We talked about that on Monday, and you can go back and listen and watch Monday's show. Go to rivervalleyleader.com, go to the bottom, and you can look for the 1014 show. That was we talked about that at length. But moving on to basketball, the SEC Media Days. Basketball Media Days began today, and we talked a little bit earlier about some of the tweets that are coming out of SEC Media Days. Looks like Nashville is going to be sort of a permanent home for the SEC tournament, which means that if Arkansas is able to compete, I'll be trying my best to make a trip to Nashville to watch the SEC basketball tournament, something I've always wanted to do. And also, Arkansas, Jason, was picked 8th in the SEC by the media. No first or second team players. It's basically what I expected coming into the media day. I said that I had hopes for Arkansas to get up to about 5th if they were able to play to the level that I would hope. But I don't think either one of us are going to be too surprised with what the media has to say about Arkansas.
No, that's probably about where I thought they'd be, about middle of the pack in the SEC. You know, it's going to be a tough year for Arkansas. You know, till Anderson can get a point guard up there, it's going to be able to break down the defense and contribute the basketball and break the press and stuff. I think it's going to be hard for him to have success there. Now, with that being said, I do think that we'll get close right around 20 games this year, and we'll probably be a bubble team. But we don't have the scorer that we need. We don't have just a wing guy that we can get the ball to and say, hey, take this guy off the dribble and score. But I think with Bobby Portis coming in and with Moses Kingsley coming in and with Alandis Harris being eligible now, which I've got high hopes for Alandis Harris. He was really good player for Houston, and I think he's going to be a good player for Arkansas too. And I was watching highlights of the practice yesterday, and Cody Clark seems like he has really turned it up a little bit, and looks like Markel Wade was back to his three-point shooting, and he looked pretty good again. So I think that we can win 20 games and probably be a bubble team this year, but that's about where I thought we'd be, about middle of the pack in the SEC.
You know, we talked before about the schedule, and I know it's a little ways from now. November 8th is the first game, so it's only about 3 weeks from now before they start their patty cake schedule there as they play the cupcakes to start the season. But they don't have the best schedule. About the best non-conference game that you can expect outside of the Maui Invitational is Clemson on December 7th. I guess it's going to be in Fayetteville, unless they flex that out to Little Rock. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's going to be at Bud Walton. But then you go into the meat of the SEC schedule. They've got Florida, and then they play Kentucky twice. They play Missouri twice. That's for 5 games against teams that are picked above you in the SEC. To start the conference slate, you've got Texas A&M, Florida, Kentucky, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, Missouri. That's a pretty rough first half stretch there for Arkansas, knowing the way that the team is projected to go in the SEC. It's going to be tough for them. They're going to have to win a large number of those games. We'll get to predictions later on. I think they were 10-8 in conference last year. They'd have to win at least 12 games in conference, in my opinion, and get above the 20-win mark to really warrant discussion on the bubble, which means, last year, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee were above Arkansas. 6 teams above Arkansas in the SEC. I do expect Arkansas to be better overall, although, Jason, I will question who's going to put the ball in the basket. Last year it was BJ Young and it was Marshawn Powell who were able to score for Arkansas. This year it's going to be a completely new-look team, although I think the way this team is built is more suited to Mike Anderson's system.
I couldn't agree more there, and I think on any given night it could be a different leading scorer. We might play 20 different games and have, I guess you really can't have 20 different leading scorers, but we're going to have probably a different leading scorer every game. But, man, they've got to win. They've got to win on the road. They were so good in Bud Walton last year, and then when they went on the road, they just couldn't beat anybody. And, Mike Anderson has just got to get them playing better on the road for them to be successful this year. And it's going to be hard to get into, the top, 5, 6, or 7 of the SEC, with, like you're saying, Kentucky's loaded this year.
Yeah.
They brought in such an unbelievable freshman class. I think they had like 5 McDonald's All-Americans or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they're loaded.
Just unbelievable. So, of course, they're going to be good. And then, Missouri's going to be good. And so it's going to be tough for Arkansas. I just hope that Anderson can get them winning on the road.
Yeah, Julius Randle from Kentucky is the preseason player of the year from the media. They've got they've got him, they've got the two Harrison twins, they had 5 of the top, I think, 12 or 15 recruits in the entire country on their team. The only 2 disappointments that Kentucky had, and these are air quote disappointments, it was that Jabari Parker picked to go to Duke and that Andrew Wiggins picked to go to Kansas. That's about all they didn't get. Now, those guys are very good, and I don't think that they'll necessarily miss them, quote unquote, because of all the talent that they've got there at Kentucky, and I definitely don't feel bad for them. But anyway, Jason, that's all the time we've got for today. On Friday, I guess we'll preview some more high school and college football. We'll get you to talk a little bit about what you expect and what I expect from Saturday, Arkansas against Alabama. We'll give some predictions for some of these other college games.
And I got one last thing to say. You were talking about Andrew Wiggins. Did you see what Adidas is probably going to offer him once he is eligible for the NBA?
Was it a $180 million deal? Is that what I saw?
Yes, $180 million over 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did. I actually saved that as a favorite on Twitter so that I could read that, and I forgot to do it. Yeah, that's wild that they're going to offer him that much money when he comes out. You think about the distraction that he's going to have at Kansas this year, knowing that he's got $180 million on the table before he even plays a game in the NBA, before he even has a team in the NBA. That's just that's wild. So, all right, Jason.
Before he has even played a college game.
Yeah,
I mean that's just unbelievable that they would do that. But yeah, I'll call back in on Friday, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, take it easy. That's Jason Kilburn. And that is literally all the time that we have for today. We've actually gone a minute over. We told you we were keeping you to 12:07. We kept you to 12:08. Thank you for joining us today on the Sports Blitz. Watch all of our replays. Go back to rivervalleyleader.com. We can see how many people are watching. We can't tell how many are watching here as we do it live because it's streamed over our website, but we can tell how many people watch the replay. So go back and watch those replays. We appreciate those of you who do and follow us from week to week. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to noon most of the time, sometimes to 12:08. But for Maddie and Jason, I'm Mark saying so long, and we'll be back at 11 o'clock on Friday with more Sports Blitz.